Hello, everyone. We are back again with Own Your Image, Effortless Style, Branding, and Extraordinary Confidence. Today we have with us Amiraa Vee. She is a fashion stylist who is bi-coastal between LA and New York. She has worked in fashion and PR for brands such as Alexander Wang and Vogue. She is a creative entrepreneur who is making her impact in the fashion world and in the world as a whole. Welcome, Amiraa, to the show.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we're so glad that you are here. We've talked to several experts and different guest speakers. Obviously, we're in a critical time right now with COVID-19. Can you tell us a little bit about how that experience has been for you and where you are currently located?
So I'm currently in Los Angeles. COVID-19, which was not so long ago, we're kind of still in it. But the world has transpired so much since COVID a bit, it feels like. Quarantining has been I'm super grateful for this pause in the world, despite, people losing their lives and, being affected by COVID. On the brighter side, it's, I didn't even know it was like time that I needed.
Yeah.
And time I have been able to truly restructure my business more digitally. I've been able to create new avenues for work. I've been able to reconnect with myself, reconnect with my source. I've been able to really just reclaim my time, so to speak. And it's been really good for me. Like, I wouldn't mind quarantine going further or longer, but I'm kind of ready to get back to some type of normalcy soon, And now within the world, we're just dealing with a bigger issue than COVID, right? At this point, it's transpired to a bigger political issue, involving racism and dealing with police brutality and injustice. So it's just been a very, very emotional roller coaster, so to speak, for the past 3 months. Gotta keep on moving forward, gotta keep on using my platform to speak about what's happening in the world. But some have also come, like I have Creative Exchange, so on styling services. There's so much that I've been doing in this time. So it's all over or close to being, back to normal.
I think going out a little bit on my end.
I'm starting not to hear you guys.
I just hear just a little bit of static, but can you guys hear me okay?
Now you're good. I think as you were talking, it was going in and out.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
On some parts.
Okay, should I go again?
No. I heard you say, just with the political climate and everything that's going on, it's been kind of an emotional roller coaster. And I think, you're like that for everyone. Just having.
Yeah, it's just been really. I'm still processing everything, so I'm still trying to figure out the best way to formulate how I'm feeling or my thoughts on this entire thing. But I just know that we have a long road ahead. I just know that every African-American person, or, especially us, it's imperative what we do in this time, because it's all going to be for a bigger cause, a bigger change, right? And it's not meant for everyone to be on the front lines and protest. It's not meant for everyone to hate. But you have to find where your role is so that you can commit and do something to be a part of the change. Posting is just not going to be enough. There's petitions to sign. There's different ways that you can give back, even if you can, you know, make sandwiches or give out water to protesters. I mean, there's just so many different ways that we can really be a part of this change. And I just think that it's very important for all of us in this time to do or something where we're playing a part, so that we can all, I mean, we're in this together, right? So we just have to do what we have to do.
Absolutely, and I think that's essential for us, like you said, as well as the audience speaking. Find your lane where you can make a difference. Like you said, you don't have to be on the front lines. Posting obviously isn't enough, but dig in and find where you can come up with a solution to the very large problem that we are all facing as a human race.
Exactly.
We're all one human race. So
Exactly. And, you know, we may not get justice in our lifetime. You know, it may be our kids, but we have to do something. We can't just sit around and not do anything, right? So we just have to be ready for this long road ahead. And I think it's just about trying to just stay positive, keep our head high, and just play a part, you know, to feel purposeful. So that's what I'm doing.
Love that. Love that. So tell us a little bit about your brand.
Oh, my brand has layers. It's evolved so much over time. So my brand is V Mode Consulting. So under V Mode, you know, you'll find me, Amiraa Vee, the stylist, the model, the socialite, the figure. You know, you'll have V Mode Studios, which is where all of, you know, my team and my styling work composed of. You'll find AV Academy, which is where I produce like my courses and like my ebooks and my workshops. And then you have, you know, you have Shop V Boutique, which is where I sell like clothes from directly out my closet. I've also been selling transparent masks during this time. It was, you know, originally for COVID, but now has transpired to, you know, people using them in these protests to avoid getting, you know, pepper sprayed or whatever the case may be. So with the masks, I'm using all those proceeds to donate to different funds during this time that can help with, you know, the bills for inmates, that can help with Minnesota Freedom Fund, Black Lives Matter, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then I have my Creatives Exchange live talks. Before COVID, I was doing panels. I was hosting and moderating panels. So now that we are, it's best for us to be more indoors, I've created an online show, IG live show, because that's where it's hosted on Instagram. And there is where I just connect with different innovative, creative professionals. And we speak about how we can push the conversation and the envelope forward in our respective industries within this new normal. And the whole purpose of it is to empower, enlighten, and inspire our audience through this time, and support them within their lives or businesses in some way. So I feel like I do a couple of different things, you know, and which is okay too, because I'm a creative and I just do things that help me express myself in the best way. And before, you know, styling, I was modeling for like a decade. So that's really where a lot of my experience is. And that's like a whole nother thing. But yeah, Amiraa Vee, you know, V Mode Consulting, it's multifaceted. And yeah, it's just showing you that you don't have to be put in a box. I'm not accepting, you know, being put in a box, because there's more to me, and the more that I grow as a human being and a person, the more that I am discovering new parts of myself, and the more I need to express that. So it's just going to continue to evolve. It's hard to just say I'm just a fashion stylist, or I'm just a model, or I'm just a moderator, a host, or just I don't know. I don't like to say influencer, but whatever. You know, I'm all these things, and yeah, I'm just really showing people that you don't have to be put in a box and you can do it all. And and although you can do it all and not at the same time, you can, you can put your focus into different areas, make sure those things grow before you, go to the next. But you can be all things,
Love that. How I love how you said you don't have to stay in a box. And I think that's great. You're an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs have multiple avenues and lanes.
Yeah.
Can you take us back a little bit? I know you say you started with modeling. Can you take us back to kind of where your story began? How you kind of
Yeah.
created all these?
And just to let you know, like the one thing that's consistent in this, all these things that I do is the fashion industry, right? I'm in the fashion industry. I've been in fashion all my life. I went to school in New York. I went to LIM college, studied fashion business. I've worked for a bunch of different corporate houses, fashion houses. You mentioned Alexander Wang, Saint Laurent, Burberry, Gucci, Prada, you name it, Vogue, and all these have brought me to where I am now. But before that, and in the midst of doing that as well in New York, I was focused a lot more on my modeling. And I've been modeling since I was 12. When I first did my first fashion show. And there's when I discovered that feeling that I had never felt before. I don't know, it was a feeling of purpose. And I felt that in such a young age, but my mom always used to tell me that I was a very reserved and shy child, but whenever the camera would come out, I would light up or something. I don't know. So I guess the camera loved me since I was a young girl. And that's just where I found my passion, and I just continued to just listen to that feeling, which led me to, many campaigns. I've walked for Dolce & Gabbana, believe it or not. I'm 5'6", so walked for Dolce & Gabbana. I've done Yeezy shows. I've had different beauty campaigns, and yeah, that was a majority of my life. Beforehand, I used to create my own. I had my own lookbooks. I had my own photo books that I would publish and sell. It's so crazy. Like, I actually have published books. And what else? I've just done so many things. Like, along my journey, I've just always found new ways to like express myself and showcase my talents. And I had a reality show on YouTube. It's just so many things that has like led to where I am now. And I'm just grateful for that, because although I was the forefront of what I was doing in my brand, I found that with styling, I have taken not a step back, but I've become more behind the scenes, so to speak. And the transition has been very interesting because even though I love styling, modeling is my true passion. But the difference is I feel fulfilled within styling in a different way, because it's not about me, right? It's about serving others. It's about enhancing their inner beauty and allowing them to see themselves, in a new way through my filter, which is very, very, very fulfilling. And I find purpose in that as well. So it's just interesting to kind of see like the different dynamics to who I am and to what I do, and how I am just growing and evolving as an entrepreneur. I don't know. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Okay. Yeah, so.
It definitely answers the question. And, again, the show is, highlighting you, but also giving the audience a front seat to how you don't have to be in a box, how entrepreneurs can pivot, how you can constantly be creative, how you can constantly be, evolving and recreating yourself and still moving in purpose. So I love that you gave your personal story and all the things that you dove into. Speaking of which, where you're at now and everything that you've built, how important has it been to you to bring your morals, your values, and what you stand for into that? And how do you go about doing it?
That's a good question. So I am Haitian. I'm from the Caribbean. I was born in the United States, but I'm first generation Haitian-American. So my family is foreign. And I grew up with a certain type of, I just grew up in a Haitian household, right? And that's very different from, the life that I live now. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't grow up with, with wealth or, my family having lots of money. So it's just, I think it was all instilled in me from being young that, and mind you, I feel like I'm the only one in my family that has taken a different direction in terms of being an entrepreneur or being super creative. You grow up in a foreign household and you learn that, you have to go to school, you have to get your education, you have to save, you have to go to college, you have to get a job. That's it. So I've kind of been the black sheep in my family in regards to being rebellious in that term and kind of just venturing out and doing my own thing. I left the house when I was 17 and I never been back. Obviously I went to college and I just kind of just been on my own ever since. And in terms of morals and values, I grew up religious, Catholic, but I'm not very religious at all. I conform to Christianity, but I'm very spiritual. And I had to really go on that journey and that path on my own to really discover, who I am, understand what my purpose is, why am I here, what am I supposed to be doing? And I've had to really start creating my own values and morals through that. So how do I use that? I pretty much have manifested everything that's happened in my life, the good and the bad. And what I want to do with that is be able to show people that, your thoughts become things, right? And the power of the tongue is very, very important. So just being able to speak life into yourself, being able to constantly think about things that you want to create, things that you want to bring to life, and not so much, dwelling on the past or thinking about things that don't serve you any justice. And that came from me seeking a spiritual mentor probably about, 8 years ago, in my early 20s, like 8 years ago. And that has completely changed my life. It's completely changed my perception on life, how I go about just thinking, living, carrying myself as a woman, everything. And I want to continue to spread through my work. I want people to be able to see and understand that, I am a vessel for God. I'm a firm believer. I want to continue to spread God's word, but I also want people to see, through the things that I'm doing, that it's possible that, you can do it as well and more, right? We sometimes have really, really big ideas or visions for our lives. And for me, that's God just giving us a preview of what can really happen, right? It's just about all stemming from believing in yourself enough to step into that next dimension, to step into that place, to constantly, see what God can do for others, but not just for others, but for you as well, right? I like to call it his portfolio. God has shown me his portfolio through what he does for, others and what he has done for me. So it's just going back to, really believing in myself and sharing with others how I've done that and how they can do it too, and what can come from that, which is just manifestation and abundance. I live from a mental space of abundance. And it's basically, that's how I got to LA. I came to LA literally 3 suitcases, my dog, and I was like, okay, God, tell me to come here. Now what am I doing? I'm here. What am I doing? Right? So I just rented a car, you know, for a month, and I rented an Airbnb for a month, and I was like, okay, I'm going to figure it out. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. And literally within the week of being here, I figured it out. And, you know, styling took off big time here, more than it did in New York for me. And I was just like, okay, you know, this is good. And even though the transition of being in front of the camera now being behind the camera, it wasn't difficult to adapt to, but it was just different, right? Because I'm just so used to being on the forefront. But it was also teaching me so much. And even with styling, like, I didn't have a blueprint. I didn't have anyone grab my hand and say, hey, this is where you go to showrooms. This is where you go to, like, I had to just figure it out, trial and error, do research. And it really stretched me. It really pulled me to a place that I didn't even know, you know, I could be in. And it's just God's grace, right? So I just want to always make sure that I keep the word first. And to always be able to show people that, you know, believing in yourself is real, because that's where all of the manifestations of your heart and your mind and your desires come from, you know, believing in yourself. So that's how I carried into my work. I speak about it on my Creative Exchange Live. I talk about it. It's in the class that I created, my styling course, Styling Fundamentals, you know, not just the fundamentals of styling, but how you can actually be able to manifest clients and sustain them, and you know, how to carry yourself around these people as well. And yeah, so I just feel like it's just a part of who I am, and I try to showcase that as much as possible through everything that I do.
Lots of good gems there. So many things.
I feel like I'm rambling, but okay.
No.
I was going like
This is really good. I think you've given, you know, even in that one question, you gave so much. You gave that God is your foundation, and from that, you bear fruit, right?
Yeah.
And even back to the testimony of just coming to LA, knowing that God sent you to LA, and knowing that because God sent you here, you were gonna figure it out. And I think, again, that's a special note for the audience. You know, you don't have to have a blueprint to where you're going. You just have to go.
right.
And you have to start.
Yeah.
And so that's
I'm a risk taker. Everyone isn't like that, right? I'm a risk taker. It's just in me. Like my mom, every time I'm about to move somewhere, because you know, I left home when I was 17, moved to New York, and then 8 years later moved to LA, and she's just like, okay, are you sure you're going to do this? Like, why are you going so fast? Like, literally within a month, I was like, okay, I'm moving to LA. And then I left. So it's just in me. I wouldn't advise everyone to do that because I have done it and it worked for me. I think it's about developing a relationship with your source, you know, and trying to feel led by the answers that, you know, you get from that. So for me, I thought I was supposed to go to London. I literally was going to move to London. I had a going away party, everything. I'm moving to London. I had got signed there with a modeling agency. And when I went back to London for like the 4th time to like actually find a place to live before I was going to actually move, everything just like crumbled down and it didn't work out. So I went back to New York and I was like, wow, okay. All right, God, I thought you wanted me to go there. So now you don't. I'm confused. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me. LA? Okay, cool. LA. So now I'm here. And it's just, and you don't hear it just like God saying, you need to go to LA. It's just like opportunities that will start, you know, revealing itself, or things, you know, more and more people from LA was like seeking me. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess, you know. So you'll see it in different ways, but it's all about developing that relationship. It's a muscle. You have to strengthen it. You know, your imagination is a muscle. You know, being able to manifest is a muscle. Believing is a muscle. So it just takes a lot of self-work. And I'm not perfect. You know, every day I have battles. I have daily battles that I deal with. But I know the work I need to do to keep myself in alignment. And that's where everything comes from. So.
Love
Yeah.
that. So, switching gears a little bit, you're in the fashion world. So we
Yeah.
just want to ask you, do you connect with the message when you look better, you feel better?
Oh, absolutely, 1000%. Even in quarantine, I was just like, okay, guys, you know, we cannot be in our pajamas every day of quarantine, right? Just because we're home, like you have to show up for yourself. You know, you have to show up for yourself, because when you get up and you take a shower, you get dressed, you put on a lip, you put on a little bit of makeup, or, you know, you put clothes on, then you feel more encouraged to work, you know, and be more productive, at least for me. But you know, there's articles that prove that that's really true. And so, yeah, when you get dressed and you show up for yourself, then you are going to make the most out of that. You know, you're going to be more productive. You're going to be in a better mood. You're going to handle phone calls more professionally. Like, even if you have on heels walking around the house, you know, or you don't even have to have on heels, but if you just have on, like, you know, slip dress and a blazer and some sneakers or a sandal, like, you know, at least you're like, okay, I'm dressed. I'm ready for the day, even if you're not going anywhere but to your living room. It makes a difference versus just, you know, because there were days where I woke up and I was just in my pajamas and just working from my laptop on my couch, and literally felt so lazy and just want to eat and work, eat and work, eat and work. And then there were days I was like, okay, no, I'm getting up, I'm acting as if, right, I'm make believing, right, I'm acting as if I'm going somewhere, and which I am, but just, you know, a couple feet away. But yeah, I feel good. I look good. I'm ready to hop on a Zoom call. I'm ready to do a FaceTime. I'm ready to even record content because I'm feeling good, right? I'm looking good. I dressed up for the day. So much more can come out of it when you show up in the right way. So I 1000% agree with that.
Oh, we can't hear you.
I've been taking myself on and off mute because I've got a lot of background noise from my neighbors. But, you know, that's been a reoccurring theme around the question that you answered, especially right now with quarantine. And I don't want the audience to feel like, you know, it's a repetition of information, but it's true. And I think it highlights even more that statement is so powerful.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And you have to truly show up for yourself. You have to speak life into yourself, you know, like how you look really determines how you feel. And for me, it's about, I'm just going to walk you, you know, through my day briefly. Like, you know, I'll get up in the morning, I'll do my morning regimen. You know, for me, that's
I'm losing you a little bit.
That's, we have to just reset that. I've been guilty of that, you know, a few times. I woke up and I was just like, oh, I just can't do it. Not today, right? And it's just like, okay, no, but what are we going to do to get ourselves up out of this? Because yes, I'm human, but I also know that I can't just let time go by, you know? And one of my biggest challenges during quarantine was finding a balance between work, and just being still and processing everything that's happening. Because for me, I feel purposeful and I feel useful when I'm constantly working, when I'm, you know, it's always on to the next project, on to the next something. And a lot of time during this pause, I've had to really force myself, even put a timer on my phone and be like, for the next 10 minutes or for the next 15 minutes or whatever the case may be, you're just going to do nothing. You're going to sit here and just sit and be still and just connect, right? And it's easier said than done because, you know, your mind is constantly loud. There's so much going on, but it's a training. It's, again, a muscle that you have to constantly strengthen. So Dang, I feel like I just went there, but back to back to showing up for yourself. And yeah, it's an adamant thing, and it's true. And I just feel like, the more that you do it, definitely take time for yourself, but the more that you get up and show up, the better you'll feel, the more you'll get done, and the more accomplished you'll be.
Love that. Love that. I think you said something really good there. Take a moment. You make yourself take a moment because it's hard. I'm the same way. I need a stop. So I love that you said you put a timer on your phone and want to sit here and stop. So that's really
it takes discipline. It's discipline, and just learning to work in increments works as well too. It's something that I learned over quarantine, because I literally, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I can be on the computer, million tabs open, just kind of bouncing back and forth between different things. And it's just like, maybe reel in a little bit of reel it in a little bit, how about you work for an hour on this, you take a 15-minute break, work for and take a 30-minute break, and and then work for an hour again, and then take a lunch break. Like, you have to work in increments, because I feel like something I've discovered with that new process is you get a lot more done. And then the breaks in between alleviates for your mind to just find new inspiration, or just pause for a minute, or just really reconnect with the moment that you're in, instead of just going. So that's a new thing that I've implemented, is just working in increments and taking breaks in between, which has been really helpful.
really, really good. That's a great tip for the audience, y'all. Take that in.
Yes.
So we want to jump into talking about confidence. We know that you work in the entertainment world, you work with celebrities, you yourself have been a model. Can you take us to a time where you've struggled with confidence, or had to learn how to build your confidence, and then kind of how you've overcame and where you're at now with it?
Where I struggle with confidence, girl, I still struggle with confidence. Okay, it's how can my words. I feel like it's a constant process. The more you're growing, the more you're learning more about who you are, your purpose, yourself, the more your insecurities are being revealed depending on different situations that you're in. At the beginning of styling, I wasn't as confident in my work because I didn't really have all the resources. I didn't really know where to go, right? So I think confidence comes with having the information, a lack of confidence comes from not being prepared. It comes from not having the resources or not having the information that you need, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a difference, confidence in work or confidence within myself. So within myself, confidence comes from knowing that I'm a child of God, knowing that, I am an heir of the throne, mm-hmm. knowing that, I lack no thing, it comes from just knowing the word, right, overall. And the more that you tap into that, the more that I've tapped into that, the more confident that I've become in myself, right? Knowing that I'm created in God's image. I'm